It is a 13-5 for the side of QOR that we just saw, and it pushes us to map number 3 between QOR and Dobros. And guys, we just need to talk about it. This was domination for Challengers, looking dominant, getting 30 kills, going 30-7, right? I mean, this guy was unstoppable on the jet.
Yeah, I think there was like a very wise philosopher that, you know, in ancient times said something like the shooters are gonna shoot on breeze. I can't remember which philosopher it was, but man, he's got it. He's got it right.
He was right.
He was right. Yeah, Challengers looked amazing in this one. There's only one disappointing thing here is, man, none of the Jets could finish their 5Ks. Like, come on, 4Ks, guys? Come on, we got to step it up here. We got to get the aces.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of multi-kills. Not an ace, not quite the ace, but it's still looking pretty good for the side of QOR. They came up to this map knowing they had to win it, and they really were able to just do that, positioning Challengers in it was pretty much just aggressive positions, and the rest of the team kind of working around it to close it out. We saw Civ going around, going for the flank, going for the lurk, and just working out Psycho.
Yeah, we talked about it, you know, going into this. Two heavyweight Jets going at it, who just performed really well in a set. You know, we knew it was going to come down to kind of a battle of the Jets here. Zell just really stepped up and showed, hey, look, I'm the guy to beat here. He's getting aggressive. He's picking up the off. He's getting aggressive with the rifle. You know, he's out positioning, and he just keeps peeking, man. It seems like this guy's HP bar does not matter to him. He's low. He doesn't care. He's going for that kill.
Yeah, the fact that he's usually pretty low on HP and still swinging by himself, just full confidence. But right, we did talk about this, kind of the balancing of the confidence, and it seems like the vibes were pretty good at the end. It was T-Dog dancing, everybody kind of having fun. It seems like that first map didn't really happen at all, and it seems like that is going to be also a key to see if this QOR team can close it up, if not in that map of Lotus.
Yeah, you got to respect that. Like, to take a pretty harsh loss on the first map, and then even in the beginning of the map, they're all smiles. Like, look at this, all dancing. Like, the vibes are up.
He was ready for it.
Yeah. He was in the T-Dougie immediately, as Mr. Papa would say, Van Silly. But yeah, I mean, that was an amazing performance from them. And honestly, like, Challengers popped off, yes, but when you have such clean set plays that are set up by QOR, like, getting Challengers in these positions, getting him into these like sort of situations where he can just pop off freely because he knows that the team's going to close out the rounds, like, that relieves so much of the pressure on him, and that's what's really allowing him to like be completely unleashed. Is he doesn't care if he dies. Like, even if I die, my team's got me. So like, he has that entire weight off his back.
It was the full control of Challengers again, and the way that he was positioned. And to be honest, Psycho, this is kind of what I was expecting for this match. I was expecting the Challengers dominating from the beginning, being positioned very aggressive, kind of giving no space for Dobros to play around. We didn't really see it on Ascent, but we did see it on the second map of Breeze. I feel like we might be able to keep up the tempo here, but it is going to be a map of Lotus, as we talked about, and this is when we're going to see this guy on the Raze, Zachary, doing the same thing, and where I have the question of if those initiators are going to keep swapping between the Fade and the Soba.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they lean into. Like I said, I think it'll be a bit of a confidence pick, but, you know, it really just comes down to what they're feeling on the day and what kind of game plan they have, what kind of reads they have on the other team. You know, I'm really interested to see if Challengers can keep up this style of play and this pace that he's maintaining with this Jet right now. He's absolutely dominating with the aggression. If he can do the same thing here with the Raze, it'll be a sight to behold.
I would love for one of these teams, on a kind of a side note, to pull out the Gecko Breach right now, because it is becoming a lot more meta since the Viper nerfs. Ooh. And I mean, these teams surely cannot be practicing that often with the, you know, the unnerfed Viper, right? So like, I wonder if one of these teams is going to pull out the Gecko Breach and completely surprise the enemy team.
They both last played this map of Lotus on week 5, which was pretty much exactly a month ago that they played this. So there's definitely time to make that change for both of them. I definitely would like to see that Gecko. I think it really adds a lot of flavors for the post-plant scenarios, and a lot of openings as well, where you mix the two flashes. So there's some cool ideas that you can integrate there, but we're gonna say if that's gonna be the case, right? As we think of this map of Lotus being kind of complicated in one of the sides, and it is. We make that connection with Ascent as well, where you're gonna depend a lot on starting strong. As you see, the defense for core is gonna be a now or never situation. We've seen teams that get the momentum, and you need to keep it all the way until the end, Psycho, to see, because up to now, I don't know where the series is gonna go.
Yeah, it can go. It's anyone's game right now, anyone's series. So, you know, one map, it's basically a best of one at this point. These guys gotta really lock in, dig deep, and push out all of the exterior pressure. Don't think about what's going on and what this match means to them. Just think about playing, think about the round, take it one round at a time, right? We talked about, you know, how closing out these maps can sometimes be an entire different situation. These rounds towards the end of the game are completely different than the rounds in the start and the mid game. So we'll see which team is going to be better at really just kind of pushing that out, locking in, and focusing on the round at hand and not letting the exterior pressure get to them.
And especially when you're starting on that defensive side, we've seen it on VCT, we've seen it in Americas happen quite a lot, where this map just goes to infinite overtimes until it was able to be closed out, or, you know, one of the teams get the bonus, kind of try to get away with it. Again, the same way of how the defense of Ascent starts to go on, where a couple rounds can be enough, and it's going to be the same case on that attacking side. I want to see if there's going to be anything new. I do expect it for sure, Roy, but I don't know if it's going to be the Gecko.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to speculate on the comps at this point, but we're just going to have to see, to be honest. But Lotus is still the most attack-sided map in the pool. Like, it is undeniably. All the stats are pointing to an extremely attack-sided map. And whoever is going to be starting on the attack side, they're probably going to have a leg up on this one. And I want to see them have like full tempo control, because it is a pretty easy map to kind of like push and pull and get the defenders to kind of be feeling awkward. Because, I mean, they only have so many aggressive options, right? Like, you can challenge A lobby, you can challenge C, maybe have like a B trap. But besides that, like there needs to be some kind of like versatility in the way they're approaching the defense side if they want success.
Yeah,
this map is just so completely different than both Ascent and Breach. I mean, Ascent and Breeze, not just because of the 3 bomb sites, but just because of the meta and the agents that are being played. I mean, you see it here. Both Zachary and Zeldris are going to be on the Raze. You know, the last time Core played Lotus up against Oxygen, you know, Zeldris struggled. He didn't even break 10 kills, let alone the 30 that we saw from him in this last map. It was actually Nerve who was stepping up and dropping the 20 bomb on Omen. So that's something that we're going to have to look for here. You know, who on Core is going to step up and be this guy for them, and inversely on Dobros, is Zachary going to continue his dominance with the Raze, or is it going to be someone else? We see Drone leading into the Fade pick, like you were alluding to. Yep. You know, looks like we're leading into the confidence and the experience there, and yeah,
it's all about the same. We're looking at the same compositions that they both played on week 5, and that is the question for me. It is once again the duelist duel between Zeldris and Zachary, but now on a completely different agent of Raze. And to me, this is where I give the upper hand to Zeldris. It seems like this is the guy that has proven to me the most on that Raze. Zachary still has to prove the individual mechanics and the way that he's going to play around this Fade specifically, but we're going to see how that is going to play out on this map number 3. We send it once again to, was it Lemon Vans?
Yeah.
If not Kiwi Silly, I don't know. Silly Kiwi? Well, Silly Kiwi's kind of nice.
No time for silliness, okay?
That's true.
It's time to lock in. Map decider. One team leaves Challengers Mid-Season Cup, and who would have known? Map 3 with 0 points, a broken ego. I don't know.
Yeah, broken ego, but at least like a silver lining that if you don't make it through to the mid-season cup, at least you still have stage 2 and an opportunity to pick up more points there and try to make it into playoffs towards the end for Ascension, right? That's the angle that everybody, or the end goal rather, that everybody's trying to reach towards the end here for Challengers, is to figure out who's going to be our next team moving up into partnership going into next year, because that locks you in for 2 years. But you're also not going to have to, you don't only have to win against your own region, but you also have to win against LATAM and South America in those playoff finals of Ascension. So there's still a long road up ahead here for these teams, but it has to start now. And a third map, a decider between Core and DB, for chances for at least some silver lining and some hope that one of these teams can make it into those late playoffs for Challengers and Ascension. And now Core starts off here on pistol round. Look at this. 3 sheriffs on defense. Okay, finally we're switching out one of them so that Snarly could get a little. Never mind. We'll figure it out once it gets close to 0. But they're also trying to figure out what they want to use here. There's a lot of long-range battles that they want to put in this favor. And if you're looking at their side on the defense, Snarly has one of those sheriffs on B. Where's the other sheriff? It's on, on C. Where's the other sheriff? On C. And where's the third sheriff? On C.
And I'm looking at T-Dog. So on A, the lineup to check out a lobby. So that got smoked off. So not much information there where you can always criticize. And we could talk later about the impact of Sova on Lotus. But look at the impact of Soldiers with the Sheriff into the dome of Zachary. What an aggressive kind of early push out of C from Core. And DB trying to take advantage of that moment to go and push into B and maybe even pivot into A, because look how much exploration Ange has done. But this is such a weakened state and not a good start for pistols for DB.
This is still so good, though. So much damage has been done with the pistols. They have 2 shark darts available for T-Dog when they hear that the tap on the spike maybe could land some. That's going to hurt some players even more. It could help for the retakes as well. DB is still in a pretty decent spot, despite it looking like they don't have too much util left.
Spike is down, and Coral trying to scrap through B. A lot of information for DB to at least know where the main push is coming from. And then there's just Drone at range. Like, what is Drone playing back here? Just hoping to cut off the rotations from B, and it works out. Drone picks up 2. Anna's in a 1v1 against Ziff with the Sheriff. This is everything. And the spike's about to go off anyway, so this is very tough for Ziff.
He'll get
Manages
it half
to get by. We'll get it half, and Drone, he's gonna stick it. Drone. Okay, gets him off the spike. Wait! Gets it. What?
Oh, somehow I felt that Ziff was gonna win that one too. It's like there's absolutely no way, right? Drone's gonna be able to land this one. It's planted out in the open. No, Ziff, the Sheriff, once again, it lands. It was there was question marks all around. I was also trying to figure out what the hell is going on and why it was so chaotic. It should have been some sort of a clean retake, focus on retaking the B side and working together towards A. They had a recon dart available, and then DB had perfect positions in the end towards Robo to just hit them one by one like lemons running through the door. Yet in the end, it's still Ziff with the Sheriff to win that round. Expensive round, as they invested in a lot with with a lot less utility, but thankfully towards the end, it's a round for Core and a bonus.
And you hear them running through Sands. What a paranoia from Nerve, and the full punish from Core. And just when I was about to commend the adjustment of DB to throw the paint shells, when you saw Core be aggressive out of C door before, it's an exchange. Both teams learned a lot from the previous round, and DB have learned, well, A has been better for them. And Snarly playing on site. This is a big risk, hoping the SMG will pay off, and good trickle damage wrapping around as Ange, who gets the finish. And DB are still hoping to plant, and now Ange is connecting on every shot and can play from tree. Knock, knock, who's there? Zeldris, the piece is cold, and Zeldris, I can't believe, won that against Ange, who was just lined up for it. Zachary sneaks up onto Nerve in a 1v1, taps the spike, forces the engagement, and wow, locks in just in time.
I think this is going to be one of those third map here, Lemon Kiwi, where it's just going to be brawly and chaotic from round after round, beginning towards the end. Again, you see these shares this time on the attack paying off for Dobros and converting into a thrifty to break the economy back over at Core. And what did they do in round number 3? They're going to buy more shares. So shares and Marshall too, right? So you're looking for Ziff once again to get into a position towards C where even if it does armor damage, 101, this means a one-shot body shot pretty much for the Sheriff players for the rest here on the C side. So they're still locking down in that position. This is a read that Core has to consistently want to fight against DB's early defaulting that they're doing towards the C site. It's been working out, but not into the gunfights in the later rounds on the post plan.
Zeldris playing boxes here. What a scramble that we have for Sands. And first it started with Riku teleporting to the left side, providing an alternate angle if there was going to be a brawl for Sands. And through all of the smoke, Zeldris set up in the boxes, but DB usually have gone for Orb and then have left. But Core will see if that approach has changed. Riku and Zeldris will face off in a second while the rest of DB head around through rubble very quietly. And who could be spotting this? Is T-Dog, and Riku spots the hiding spot of Zeldris. DB still pretty deep into A, opening the door. Answering the call is T-Dog, who got blinded in that moment. And Stepping up to pick up tree is Nerve on the other side with a Sheriff, but with walls up, there's no vision on if DB are still committed up until now. Left. The call is still to infiltrate A. Nerve at least goes 1 for 1, so it's not horrible. 2v4 sounds pretty horrible with the weapons that they have.
Yep.
DB will get the plant down.
And then this should be around converting towards the end. I don't think there's going to be any shenanigans this time around in round number 3, especially how you slowed the tempo down for Dobros and actually got that pick on both extremities, and you had the full map to work with, right? So you're leaving these last 2 players kind of like guessed out, thinned out, and they can't really work together with the Marshal and the Sheriff. So at least there is some silver lining currently for Dobros to have better control of their economy moving into those later rounds. As now you can see here, Snarly is just trying to keep some players close to him. But great delay. So, I mean, wow. Okay, that's a nice shot, though. That's a sick shot onto Riku.
Last player standing.
Ooh, what a swing. Yeah, this will end the way of Ange, but hey, the couple of picks they got is nice. Ziff will die to Spike. Round goes to DB, back-to-back 2, where it's been the same game plan. Go and grab an orb at C, go through A, open the door, but the way that DB adjusts their post plan based on where core is in that mid round is really cool. Like whether it's watching the baby door cross or just playing on site, there's a lot of good communication happening on the Dobro side.
And now, as you see, like we went from pistol rounds to thrifties, it kind of just really reset the whole situation and the state of the game for this map, where you're in round number 3. It's a default gun round for both sides. You've saved at least the outline to the next round could be your mini op, and you're seeing this pressure coming through. I like this from core. They want to add that pressure, make sure they control that side. But interesting enough, I thought Zeldris would be the one going back to pick up the orb so they could have a showstopper to work with now that the actions stay calm. But they want to get the Hunter's Fury out as soon as possible onto T-Dog.
Oh, that's a good information. You know, they're all still lobby. The Hunt, or the Prowler,
nice,
forcing that raise out of position. Now it's the showstopper for Zeldris. Just, you know, he doesn't need the orb. He can get the kills.
What a big blunder, though. Drone died, and that's a spike out in the open too. And everything's slowed down by the showstopper. Now aggressive position coming out from their side for core on defense. This is going to be so hard for DB to retake that spike. They need more util, and they don't have that. Their initiator is the one that died. What spike?
There are a lot of snake bites, though, that Snarly can use to just make sure that the spike won't be touched. Now that that's gone, hey, silver lining. Maybe DB could actually do something about it. They have smokes, and wow, okay, maybe core walking into the line of fire is ideal. They kind of want this round to be over with. As Riku an alternate angle through baby door, and there's the answer from Snarly. And Zeldris with the 3rd this round. DB, it's been a war to just get that spike back, but it's Zeldris with 4 that ends it for core.
The EG spray in the end definitely coming out, but yeah, there was again that big mistake of losing that spike was probably the nail in the coffin there for the round ending in favor of core. And it started off quite well because they wanted to re-attack with the Prowler, and I'm pretty sure more players want to follow behind Drone at that point. The paint shells is what pushed everybody out that was thrown by Zeldris to isolate that kill onto Drone. What was missing there is that you can't have Drone going in as the initiator. You need your duelist to go in first no matter what, so that at least they could fall back with that spike and keep that up. But I mean, let's stop beating a dead horse here. Let's go back with the action now in round number 5. Nightfall to clear out the C site, and for DB to try to initiate in that side.
It doesn't hit Snarly. It doesn't hit Snarly, so he's okay. Well, now the paranoia does. So he'll be pushed out of sight, but through Waterfall, the KJ Ziff, stoic with the Hunter's Fury, getting information. And I swear, there's just always a ping on these Hunter's Furies from T-Dog, but DB still come out on top on the initial engagement for the site, and they got the plant and the nades. Plus the smoke makes it so the retake, or at least the prevention of the plant, won't happen for core. And with the pit too, this is a really good setup out of DB. Not a lot of space, but this is their cage and core.
They got paint shells, paranoia, and a recon dart to flood back inside this pit.
Okay, just trying to deal with Ange in this pit through the outskirts. Riku goes back into hiding, and with the 3rd, now that the pit is gone, DB have nothing to protect themselves, but core have nobody left. So DB take the round.
I'm actually surprised we didn't go for that combination of a recon paranoia inside that pit. so that it could actually at least try to get the ping onto somebody. Yes, eventually they still got the pick onto Ange and dropped that pit, but I feel that this could have been a second one that could have got onto Riku. Riku not getting hit by any of that utility allowed for them to really get around that pit and convert that round for DB towards the end, allowing DB to have a strong anchor crossfire setup play in the pulse plant on that C site. So this is going to break that economy now for Core. They're going to be forced on a full Sheriff round, but we know how good they've been on this map from that first round with the Sheriffs. They could convert potentially something again here.
Core being aggressive at A lobby. Luckily for DB, they still have the spike in hand. So pivoting towards C. So this will be pressure onto Ziv. The recon will reveal Ange, but the fact that it's just Ange. So DB can, you see that Core are on the chase. Ange to deal with the drone and the swing. Not doing too much damage. The rest of Core will have to catch up though, because DB have already infiltrated the site, but Ziv took one with them. That's a weakened take, and Riku wants to get this annoying pest out of their backline, and will be ready for the swing if it happens, but at least knowing that they have left, the precision has wrapped around. DB are done messing around, but reinforcements of Core are back from their A rotation. The DB time is on their side, but numbers not so much. Man, the shots out of Core are disgusting. And Drone has to deal with 4. That's too much. And Core will equalize 3-3.
Yeah, like I said, don't count him out when they got Sheriffs. And it started off well. I mean, this was still a nice little off-the-cuff call, understanding that how they were pressured on that A-side push from Core. They had to tempo up and prioritize just a flood towards that C-side. But somehow Ziv gets a shot like that and still manages to escape, allowing the rest of Core to push forward from the C-side lurk while the rest are flank, while the other ones are pushing towards spawn to try to take down Ziv. You saw that unravel towards the end. Beautiful shots from Core. They didn't even need utility behind that. And even with their eco, the orb was picked up by Zeldris. They're getting picks off Sheriffs. Now they have Ults to work with as well for a chance to turn around over on their side on defense.
Hey, oh, showstopper. You want this smoke? Oh, Zachary, do you want this smoke? Zeldris did not like the taste of that. Zachary coming out on top. The better raise in that showstopper moment. DB head towards A, but Riku just deciding to take the snake bite damage, hearing the stomp, and T-Dog had no idea who would ever push there. Riku would. And that, you would think that the plant would be coming A. That's why Ziv is heading that direction. You think that you're safe just because the pit is at C, but DB have already swapped their whole plan towards C and maybe away towards B.
If anything, you're still going to have a clean plant for DB, right? So they realize the aggressive push outside of the pit. Now it's like, okay, a turret's going to get broken. You're going to use util. They'll soon realize that it's being uncontested. And there's still this lurk from Riku towards this A site that rendered to be quite pivotal on that pick onto T-Dog. And they almost could have won that 1v1 against Nerf, but at least it'll be a 2v1 for a potential trade, not even needed. This is a DB round in the end.
And just having a really good game. DB, they have the numbers too to just seal off every entryway. And Core will be just deciding to save in that moment. We knew this was going to be scrappy. This has just been round exchange after round exchange from both sides. DB have adjusted well from going to A towards C. No, the pit's not going to work out. Go towards B again. As I'm complimenting Ange, of course, they're the ones to fall, but...
Yeah. I mean, they were still the player that dropped 20 kills that Psycho was mentioning before, right? And you saw that even despite the lurk that Riku was able to get in that pick onto T-Dog, they still didn't want to try to push against the 1v1 of Nerve because they know what Nerve could bring to the table on that A side. But this was the important part right here. The showstopper to showstopper, and unfortunately did not connect when you're trying to get the surprise kill onto your opponent at that point, and that really just toppled the house of cards in the end. For Core on how they wanted to hold their defensive side. We talked about those 3 ults that were available. No value out of it that came towards the end for Core, which once again tips the scales and the balance into like an even situation. You don't know who's really taking the lead of the control of this map so far because both teams have been doing incredibly well on their respective sides for both Core and DB. Now this, although, isn't an opportunity here for QOR to still answer back in their favor, because you're potentially going to see a lockdown to lockdown here.
Wow. Checking out the site with the ult and committing. DB not even bothering with A, but look how quickly QOR have learned. They were aggressive off A lobby and quickly went to C. Lockdown versus lockdown.
Crazy.
And still deciding to go for the play, but that gets denied by Snarly. No players detained. Oh, at the last second, Snarly does. And they'll have the backup of their team and the cover of smokes. The spike is down. DB will be able to re-enter the site, and they'll be playing this Omen of Riku pretty close. And the paranoia, the swing, but punished, nerved, not blinded in that moment. And it's all up to precision. And while blinded, still picks up the kill. 1 versus 2. No spike in hand, but it's all up to the death match that QOR come out on top of.
What a Shad play by Snarly to walk out into that radius. Do you saw the play on both ends? On one end, it's like Drone is going to try to go for a plant. It doesn't matter if he gets detained while planting because they have the attacker ult to keep those players at bay. But they did not put into account that a defensive wall was going to come out for Snarly to make his own play and to drop the spike carrier. It doesn't matter if he gets detained because now everybody's playing outside sight of the defensive radius of the lockdown. So what a big read coming out here from Snarly to get the heroic play and allow for that lockdown to have more value on the defensive side and for QOR to tie up the game. Now, again, no scale. The scale has not been tipped. You still have an equal buy on both ends, but no ults coming out on either side. So you're going back into the tried and true of working a default, and Precision loses that one.
Gonna be working the spawn for now. Precision, first time they've even looked at that B main. To take note of that, they like to sit around the corner. But QOR, and they've just played a different defense almost every single time, where they were aggressive off C. Now, I think they got the read at A. But DB are pretty undecided, but QOR have no information on Rubble, so they may just take a look there with T-Dog, who has the Owl drone still. The Prowler from DB to check out B main, see mainly if Zeldris is still there, because that's who picked off Precision on that entry. Doors being open, the fake is being sold at A. QOR have 3 stack there, so Hanch has to be careful. At least their life will be worth some information.
Face your fear!
There's the pivot. Oh, and the Nightfall too to hose down A, creating paranoia for the QOR defenders at A, thinking that's where the push is coming from, but DB still just trying to defend themselves and make a safe passage towards B.
10 seconds.
Still 10 seconds, and they have the plan, and QOR are cutting them down slowly but surely. Beautiful. Numbers are even, and the plan happens in time. DB finding cover 2, staying together to play for trades.
That was so nicely done by Drone with the Nightfall and the Seas to pivot that round over and giving a chance for DB to potentially win this post plant.
Hey, paranoia for Riku. This could hit at least 2. Forcing some panic, and even Haunt, I think, used. Time running out. Defenders know. Zachary is close, and him and Drone work perfectly together, leaving Ziv in the 1v3 and no health to work with. DB take the lead. Whew.
It almost seems at some point here that Nightfall that went out towards the A side, Snarly once again wanted to go for the hero play, thinking that he had a timing to break door and catch some players from behind. But that was a fake. An audible call from DB the whole time just to break through that baby door and flood back in that side with the time remaining and catching those players off guard. It got scruffy at that point, but in the end, it's still DB's round. So again, great utility being thrown by Drone, and that was one of those unsung moments here where, you know, Drone has gotten so much praise when VALORANT first came out and still was trying to find his footing once the meta started to establish. More agents coming out in the game, and TSM unfortunately falling out of contention, at least in 2020, 2021 when VALORANT first came out. So I love here that you're still seeing some good fight coming out of Drone and for DB to be back in the lead.
Keep an eye on Zeldris playing Rebel as a support of T-Dog, but how will this go? See the poison orb, no info. Zeldris will peek at C4. He'll lose his life, but there's the response from T-Dog with the Hunter's Fury. When they're all funneled in a lobby like that, he at least delivers on one before Riku's punished, teleporting on top. What a heads-up reaction from the Omen player, giving now DB the leg up to plant at A. And here come Core's rotations through top.
And this is where you're starting to see like the real balance now. Attack side teams getting control of that map on a 3-sided map and just steamrolling through where, you know, the defaulting didn't really work out in their favor before against Core. Now they just want to make sure that the trades are good and they're getting it done. Riku is doing such a great job in this first map as well to continuously get these fort positions for the team, getting through their own teammates. Snake bites, pushing forward to where opponents not ready to rotate to, and Riku is just finding some beautiful kills for DB as well.
Oh, Riku gets the 4th one too from the shadows acquired. And wow, what a round out of DB to just be so quick to react when especially that Hunter's Fury came out. Because I thought this is going to be over for the whole team, especially with the spike being dropped. Riku needed to go big here and make a play. And not even that, he even cleared and extended out of sight to just completely own the site for DB. And Core will have to use a timeout to figure out how they can get this whole series back in their favor.
Exactly. It's starting to finally run out. When you starting on the piss around, when you got their thrifties and you're realizing that the ults were also the saving grace for you to keep this game close. Now that, you know, you're starting to see DB starting to run away here with this first half, you need to salvage these last few. And I like that we're calling this timeout. It may look like it's a little bit late here on the first half, but everything was working well on their end when those shots are hitting here for Core. So getting this first time out, trying to and understanding what you could do here on your attack side with this comp that you currently have. You know the strengths that you currently have also by pulling out an unorthodox Sova in your composition for the attack side. You're just trying to make sure you're salvaging these last two. And it works out because this is probably the first time that we're finally seeing an op here in this first half. And it's in the hands of Zeldris to control this B side. So you have two players trying to like just flood and stall, force rotates from one end to the next, and hoping that Zeldris could catch one in the middle.
Is Zeldris actually going to peek around this corner though? Okay, well anyway, let's look at what DB are doing. Well, they have to wait out the snake bite, but checking out every nook and cranny. Not wanting to open the door until they're fully ready to commit. Using the Prowler to flush out whoever's in tree. Usually it's been Snarly on the site, but this time having the assist here of Ziff and the KJ util is big. Core just have to wait for the approach and play for picks. T-Dog will be at stairs here in a second, but smoked off. Still no picks despite how close both teams are getting to each other. Now the Boombot after the Prowler. And Zeldris punishing Precision again off the same B main check a DB like to go for. Give them another angle around who could be at Baby Door in terms of defenders and a paint shell right to the dome.
Yeah, they're starting to realize that util's owning them right now for Core as well when DB are forced to use util to take sites.
Revealing area.
Recon the check left side. Got shock bolt for that right corner if needed, or even just for the pit. This is a very scary pit to be playing in. Not a ton of cover. But at least Ange has some friends and Riku has a double. Zeldris doesn't let the triple happen. 2 versus 2. Spike Planet time running out. This drone has the haunt.
One enemy remaining.
In a second here, and Ange. Here's at least Zeldris, but he's sticking it! What? The simple clutch for Ziff!
How does he get the defuse on time? Those 2 kills! It doesn't matter in the end because DB's rich as hell and they could still buy in this next round. But to ooze that confidence, to get those 2 kills, you're being seized on top of that. There's literally a tether that a little tentacle is trapped onto your ankle for them to be able to spray that pulse plant. Yet he's still going to be able to stick that defuse outside of that pit and get that round for Core. That is one of those moments that deflates you here on how clean you were on the take and on the pulse plant and how you turned it around on your end, and a chance now for Core to fight back. In this last round, I mean, it was still labored. T-Dog's still very low on economy, and they're trying to make a play.
Okay, well, there's a play. Precision at least gets one for the road after an aggressive core defensive swing. We haven't seen that since early in the game. But DB being way more aggressive at A. And T-Dog and Ziff are in trouble, especially without Snarly here. But T-Dog holds his half of the sights. And, well, Zeldris from the sky, showstopper into tree. The forest is burning, and so is Zachary. And drone, 4 for Zeldris.
And a little energy spray towards the end. I love that. A little finishing touch. Doing some things that maybe Victor would have done here on this raise roll for energy, but that was such a clean retake towards the end by Core. One of those rare moments where, as I prayed Riku on how good they were to get these fort positions, unfortunately a corner not being checked, allowing T-Dog to get that pick, not getting pied in the first half, and also allowing here that opener for the retake to happen for Core. So as Cycle mentioned, it was a clean slate on a third map. Now it's a clean slate on this second half. All tied up, evened up 6-6. No shenanigans with 3 Sheriffs. It's more ghosts now this time on the defensive side of DB instead of Sheriffs on their end. Yet they still have the same 3 players adding that pressure to hold towards C.
We're just pulling 2 rounds out of a hat. First Ziff sticking the defuse and Zeldris getting a 4K. Like he just threw everything at that round to steal it away from DB. Now it's a boom bot off. And Nerve around the corner. Hacker's gonna check it, but you hear stomping and they're DB Core trying to distract for their friend, and it does cause a ruckus. The focus was split from DB and they don't punish Nerve in that spot. He's still there. Doesn't have a teleport. He's got a lot of smokes. He's making it look like he crossed. Riku, pick which side. Riku isn't crossing quite yet. I'm looking on the mini map. And Nerve gets both. And Snarly is winning the engagement towards A and now pivoting to B. Core winning these gunfights is everything. 2 versus 5 for the retake of DB now that the spike is planted. Ange has already been discovered and Drone is stomping around. That low health. Drone at least gets 1, so that's something.
Yeah, but at that point when you're trying to make that play on the C side and Core just understood that, played a default towards their spawn or played it safe, got the punishment, and that's where the fundamentals kick in. They make sure they cleared the corners, got all these picks, and DB just didn't stand a chance in that pistol. Another pistol going in the hands of Core at this point. And this might be, you know, one of those moments where the alerts are being sounded so far on DB's end, because we're nearing closing the end of this series where the pistol round was important on both ends, and it's not in the favor of DB, and they're trying to make something work in their favor. To walk contact 4 players down towards A main. They just got jump spotted by Snarly.
Snarly has the lineup too, so good luck with that, Core. Like, okay, if all 4 are going to be at A, that's just a free exposed looking site we got here. Got smokes at the top too, so free plant. Snarly with 1. Got damage into Riku as well. Guys, they're on their way. Let's make this quick. Now got some reinforcements. Nerve and the rest. It's a scrap. And DB are losing. Of course, with the buy that they had, you wouldn't expect much. What can you expect out of Ange, who's on the other side? They don't. Well, now they know that they're there. The turret and the recon both revealing it. Little classic right-click action. No, not gonna happen. And Core taking a bigger lead.
Big lead. And all that. It looked like very similar to what Core did to Dobros pretty much at that side, but when Core had Sheriffs to work with, right? It was almost the same position as you had somebody watching out towards pillars, getting picked off, and the flank came through. There was still the same player towards the spawn. We're basically seeing a different alternate reality of how this map's being played on the defensive side, but unfortunately, it's in the favor of Core so far. And this is going to be a very, very nice bonus round they're going to bring through. A heavy one. A very heavy one, rather. Guardian Vandal to actually go for the long-range picks, closing the gap with the lower rifles, controlling the objectives, picking up the orb on the attack side for Zeldris, and controlling that side at least to start. Yeah, that's a great opener.
So giga Chad for that. Knowing that you could just be, the defenders could just be hard locked onto your head as soon as you come out of those doors. Snarly has had such an important role on Lotus with the information, but also in the kills. Drone exposed. Core wanting to take advantage, but Riku hidden will get 2 and not the 3rd for the road with the assist of Drone, of course, but Core. Now this is a bit more of a troublesome A push than they thought.
They don't have map control here. So trying to move towards door, they have to be good in terms of sticking as a group so they have a perfect trade. If not, they're isolated and pinned within rubble. And the more that they don't react on the time that's remaining, the more they might make a mistake. And Precision's playing off angles. First contact is him. They walk back in towards the spawn. Well, Ange is here. Ooh. This is not looking good.
Oh, they're gonna at least check the corner, so it won't be a double kill, just one. But man, these rounds have come down to the slimmest of numbers, to who is most clutch. And Core, 13 seconds left. They'll get the plant, but who's meeting there is Drone.
Left. Last player
and they get the prevention. Oh, Zeldris! Oh, that's the best friend right there. That's your best friend protecting you on the plant like that. 1v2 for Precision.
W friend, pot friend, and 1v2 is going to be difficult here because Precision has 0 information. Both of them playing together. Turret's watching that back. You're in a great spot here for Core to win this Bulls plant.
You just have to take the risk and swing. Okay, you know they're not sands. At least you don't have... Could be boxes. Could be just right on the spike. Precision. Come at me, bro, he says. With the pre-fire, with the spike tap, getting it. No, not even halfway. Not even letting that happen. Zeldris with 3. Great round for Core.
They stopped the bleeding. Again, that's what they needed to do. Stay as a group to ensure that they get the trade. And as soon as that trade happened, you saw how it unraveled towards the end. The control going back into the favor of Core on the attack side. Again, a 3-side map. There's the world's our oyster pretty much here on Lotus, and they played it perfectly in the end after getting that first trade in the spawn. So good adaptation on the fly. And now Core is once again having a much more confident lead here in the attack side, because that's the bonus round converted, forcing now Dobros to force a play, and it's not going to be aggressive. You're trying to play the bait and switch,
go get him,
and you're donezo.
Hey, the boom bot pinged them close. Fortunately for Core, they had to drop their duelist in that moment. Hey, you remove the worry of a paranoia at least. So Core heading towards A like they always do, and Ange spotted that push already. Zachary's ready at the top side as well. Core still have to deal with Tree. Now with the smoke sub, they may just give the illusion that they still are going A, but could pivot elsewhere. But Baby Door's not broken, so they'll have to be loud about it if B is the thought. Still stepping
pain shells here, yeah. Pain shells to do some damage. There's still util with the fade.
Remaining.
Who cares about util when you get perfect aim on the drop like that from Zachary? 1v3 for Ziff. Turret will help ping on the left side. All they gotta do is worry about the right. Snakebite just barely at their feet. Can they tell if that came from the side or from the top? Ziff smartly playing from Tree. Now, DB, their hand is being forced. They still have to defuse. Util still left. Spike being tapped, and 2 for the road. But a big finish for Drone and the defuse for DB.
What is going on with these teams in their sheriffs so far? You understand the play from Core that, yes, despite them getting punished, they had to play the contact into the site, thinking that they had a good read. If they start using utility, that gives a chance for DB to even set up with more utility, right? We talked about how the Faye was available. The Raze still had his nades, so that could have allowed here a C's nade to be thrown towards the site just to really isolate them and take them down. So they went for a contact play, and the Sheriffs once again rings true, this time on the side of Dobros. Thankfully here, we talked about the amount of rounds that were won by Core. The bonus that was round by Core at the same time. Economy still flowing with ults as well. So it's not over yet here for Dobros. They still have to fight strong. Though. Exactly. 3 for 2, and they're strong ults on, at least on both ends. It just depends how this will unravel and how they're going to enter a site.
Yeah, Giga Chad showstopper play. Went all the way through. Zoning ult. Hey, at least you know they're not there, so plant will go down. We'll have a 5v5 for the post plant. Ange versus the Viper opposition. Now with the smoke stop, no one wants to really be holding on the site, especially with the lockdown for core activated. Now DB have even less time to work with. There's the retake with the Nightfall core. Oh, they're marked, but they're around the corner. DB could tap the spike to try and get them to engage into them. But with the KJ util, they got pushed off for a second. It's smoked. It won't be stuck. DB going for it. I can't believe it happened again. But this time, for the opposition, DB got the defuse, getting a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, and exactly what we're talking about, how the round would unravel with these ults. So you use the showstopper to gain some space. You're trying to delay with a lockdown where you didn't force out the Nightfall on the other end, which gives a chance here for all of that information to get pinged out and spotted once again. A key piece of util being utilized by drone to allow to get that information on the last three players to smoke in a full stick. So very, very nicely done. Gives a chance here for DB to fight back in. Oh, okay. He's able to dodge that. It's going to be at a great spot to continue to allow it to continuously fight aggressively.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Zachary flying high. Not going to heaven quite yet. It's first blood for core through that whole scrap, despite a really good nade out of Zeldris that could have gotten Zachary. Great satchel play, though. Boombot will ping someone on the other side of the wall, and the owl drone through tree. Paranoia, you know the omen's on the right side if you're DB. So core decided to break baby door and get away from A. See how weak this B site is. It's a quick plant. DB not doing much to prevent it, especially with Ange with an outlaw. This is a tough place to play an outlaw close to range and mega ping on that.
Yeah, that's going to make things very difficult for DB to retake the site, especially now that it's smoked out. I think it might be a call to try to save here, yet they still want to try to go for this.
Zeldris, playing with fire there. And now that Zachary's down, the hope is diminishing, so...
That should have been a call 2 kills ago, 2 deaths ago for the side of DB. You're trying to retake a site on a 4 versus 5. The ping got information on 2. How are you going to try to flood back in the site with what you got remaining there at that point? Nothing that could have been done. And now they're trying to save 2 weapons instead of 4. And you look at the rest of the players, they're so low on econ. You can't buy anything around that. This might give a chance now for core to move up to even 11. And this is why this is a burnt timeout that should have been used in the first place. If the call right there for DB was to save those 4 weapons. All because of one single piece of util that didn't get broken. So hyper-focused with the outlaw from Ange at that waterfall to get the pick into the B site. That pings up 2 players, him in precision. It was GG right there.
It doesn't get any closer than this, though. Map 3, Lotus 10-8. No one's really gone on a serious win streak. And at least, if anything, DB have cut down the momentum that core had. Because, yeah, they took pistol, anti, and bonus. But they also won the last 2 rounds of the half, too. Like, core had really started to figure out the Dobros. But Dobros have been able to get a grasp back into this, but just barely. Like, these rounds are just being barely won sometimes.
Yeah, on both ends, it's nothing but scrap that we're currently seeing from both of these teams. Not necessarily macro wise, of course. It's scrappy on how they're so good in these trades, and also how they really want to win this series. So when it comes down to players that have to step up to do heroic plays, sheriff kills that comes through. Remember that 2v2 that Zeldris, you thought that drone could have come through to kill the spike planner, but Zeldris jumps on the boxes to make sure that you get a safe plant. Like, these are some of the things that, under that pressure, that you're able to do these type of decisions is what is making both of these teams have such a close game. But now, unfortunately, potentially, core slipping away with this.
Okay, it's an exchange. Owl drone checking out B, and it's smoked off. You ping the right side omen, so core have really good information to play off of. So paranoia at the top, and also keeping their eyes on Riku. Great finish and holy explosion! What the heck just happened?
We are
Trying to get that util to fight against your opponents, but again, it's weapons that you have on the attack that was way stronger than what DB had in the end, so you're winning the gunfights in the end. And it comes down to those fundies. That pays off now for the team of Ocean and Slow is Cool over on Core's camp. Now Pit available in the attack too for an aggressive post plant, but that could also be countered out by Precision with a lockdown, so you're trying to keep that up. And that timeout, once again, very similar to what Core did on the defensive side. Now you have an op at the ready for Zachary. One of the rare moments that you haven't pushed aggressively out towards the main, and you're trying to watch that line with the staircase. But look at this pivot from Core. As there's no util that was thrown here towards the A site, they maybe think that they have this op on the A site for DB, and they're having a perfect read to flood in the B site now.
This could be good for the Pit, for Snarly. Just own all this real estate. There's a Boombot right in Riku's face. Bit of a distraction. Owl Drone, who is on the site? It's Drone. Fades into the shadows. And Core, this has not been as clear of a road as they thought with all the util and all the things you don't want to step on. Now they think the coast is clear, and off the cross, Riku's still there. Goes 1-1. Core brought down to 2. And DB desperately need this round because the lead was starting to get out of hand for Core. For eventually taking control of the site. Not having the Pit sucks, but
not ready yet.
At least you still have nerve.
Bring them down.
With no util offensively.
Initiated.
Okay, I'm just gonna use the lockdown.
That's what you needed. That's going to push them out. They can't really push forward to break the lockdown too. So the biggest thing is this 1v1 on the waterfall that Ange is going to have to take. Oh! Ziff wins it.
It's possible for Core. They just have to play time. And Zachary with the op. What an important pick. That was to try and Core were trying to prevent the defuse. But DB eventually win the round. Oh, this is close.
That was oof. The fight that happened towards that spot, and thankfully, if you're looking at Core in the post plan, they did not have any type of like paranoia or anything to delay even more than that. So that silver lining, at least from that pick that came out from Ziff, was not enough there for them to convert that round, especially when Zachary has that op. Again, we mentioned if he's going to bring out the op, he's going to have to be on point with those, and thankfully he landed that shot onto Nerve in the post plant, allowing DB to get the defuse. And keeping a couple of players up, but still made it was still very expensive at this point. Look at the buy that they currently have here.
He'll just take that damage. He just does not care. Okay. Zachary's just that guy. Man, that would have been a juicy op shot though if he got it. And you got Owl Drone checking out rubble. No one there. Using the wall to quietly make their way towards the right side. Riku will also be in position at stairs, so can use a paranoia to slow things down and really assist Precision, who sometimes can be left out to dry on A to stop the plant.
Yeah, this Prowler actually gets the info on the late lurk as well onto Ziff at B main. So they might think here for DB that it's a fake A split to B. So look at this readjustment that Ange has. The judge right by the door. Might be that goal right here. Oh.
I thought they were going to get way more than that. Holy cow. I wanted to, low-key wanted to see the judge 5K. Either way. Core, not feeling too hot about that B push. Never mind. You know, they're already ready for us. Gonna pit towards A. But it's covering a lot of stairs, so DB have to worry about controlling that area, and Riku doesn't also want to take damage from the pit, so this is a tough situation for DB to face while also needing to defuse the spike.
You gotta save. This op is super important right now for the team, right? So you're playing for OT for Dobros. That judge, if only Ange got a couple of more, maybe that would have been the call to try to retake the site as a team. But disadvantaged situation. There's no flash for you to retake. There's no boombots for a scan. There's a pit that you have to play against. There's no way. So now, at least for Core, they're going to have to try to figure out now if they still want to fight against the op into the next round. And you have some silver linings coming out on the defensive side. if they could actually convert a couple more rounds, they have ults to work with to potentially push this into overtime. But if not, once again, this is a storyline where DB comes out from being relegated and then almost getting relegated against Thinking Men in the lower and making it through after beating Resonate. Now has a chance to prove that they have what it takes to fight against at least the best of challengers in North America. But now they have to face against QOR, a team that they haven't played against yet in this season, and a team that they soon figured out quite quickly that they are a very tough team to try to beat.
And Dobros, aka the Glazers, I felt like yes, they went 0-5 during the regular season, but they were so close to winning series. That was the team that was like the dark horse. That was the one that really had the potential to get out of that relegation spot, but just couldn't pull through, couldn't close out, and that's been their issue. So for the fact that they took Ascent, one of the strongest maps out of QOR's pool, and sent us in this direction is still very impressive. But DB dealing with, you know, the inconsistency issues that the analysts talked about, still getting us this close of a series. I'm entertained, but now it all comes down to this round. Is DB saving and still having not the best of buys, and facing 3 people on QOR that are 1 away from ult. Oof.
There.
Good luck. And this is also a round for QOR where they could actually take control of objectives on their ends too. Being aggressive as they are right now on this A side, once again, no contention coming through. Zeldris has free reign to pick up this orb and get a showstopper ult. So you have to give up the site. You have no choice here. If the pivot and the commitment is towards the A side for QOR, then DB have to figure out how they want to play this retake. Zachary, meanwhile, picked up the orb on that C site, and 1 kill will allow the showstopper for the retake to happen. But they have to move quickly here to give a chance for Zachary to get something done.
1 less ult to worry about, but the lockdown acquired from the plant, and as soon as they hear the DB approach, that lockdown can be used. DB cannot give up.
Nightfall.
There is a lockdown. Nightfall available for Drone, but wanting it for the retake instead of scrapping through the lockdown. QOR don't have the number advantage though, so there is the Nightfall, and as they drop, Tito trying to cut him off the heel, by the heel. Zachary still has the op too. He'll be at staircase, but all the action, all of QOR is at tree.
No.
And they're trying to stop the defuse. Somehow they got it.
Remaining.
The paranoia.
With the second.
1 enemy remaining.
Oh my God, QOR finished off in the end, 13-9. They take the series.
What a key paranoia that was thrown out by Nerve towards the end, because that pick that came through from Drone to have the Nightfall to get info was everything to allow that retake to happen. But unfortunately, blinding the diffuser, getting the diffuser and picking him off allows QOR to move forward now into the round of 8. What a big series, and you definitely do see the joys coming out from QOR, as it was also as labored on their end to be able to win that series against Dobros.
What? And also the Nightfall, which kind of got rid of the sound. So if we would have had another kind of ninja diffuse, I would have been so over this whole series. But congratulations to QOR. They move on to the quarterfinals to get their rematch against Oxygen, the one that they upset in the very last match of the regular season. But I'm so excited to hear from the Dr. Pepper King himself. T-Dog will be ready for an interview, but let's go check in with the desk first.
That's right. It goes the way of QOR. They're able to close out the series on that map of Lotus. And towards the beginning, guys, it was a lot of back and forth. I was saying I really don't know what way it was going to go, but I also did have a feeling that it was just QOR taking it away. Once you get 4 rounds on that defensive side, then you have that attacking side to go on you. It does get a lot easier. It was very close though, Roy.
Oh, I mean, it literally could not get any closer. It was just completely full throttle the entire time, and I'm here for it. That's what we really want to see out right here in the mid-season cup. But it's such a sad loss for Dobros. I mean, they really showed up today. They kind of proved a lot of us wrong. They showed that they're capable of playing on multiple fronts, but in the end, it just was so close. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. In the end.
These guys are just singing. What happened to my desk?
Close indeed, though, Roy. I mean, I think the Doughboys have come a long way from what we've seen from them earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Bros, rather. I'm so sorry. Still getting used to that one.
It's the bros. It's the bros.
The bros. Not the boys, the bros. Yeah, but I mean, they stepped it up. And I think Zachary is showing that he's doing a great job on the duelist. You know, maybe a little bit of inconsistency, but he's been pulling it together, you know? And I think this bodes well for them going into Split 2, despite getting, knocked out of this single elimination bracket here. There's a lot to look forward to for them.
Yeah, it felt to me like this was the match where Dobros were gonna get that win and start kind of being that topic of conversation of, well, we almost got relegated, we didn't, now we're here to prove you why we're so good and how we made those improvements. And it was so close. It was a 13-9 on this last map, and again, it was all on that attacking side that QOR was able to pull through. There was a lot of those clutches too that ended up taking place to make this one happen, but a QOR that continues to look dominant and to win those matches that, when we look at them, they are supposed to be winning.
Yeah, I mean, they just looked extremely drilled, right? Like, we saw so many set plays that looked extremely clean. They had a very good idea of what kind of game plan they wanted to run on Lotus specifically. Like, we saw T-Dog abusing B-site over and over until, you know, he kind of put the fear in Dobros to like kind of start defending B-site. Then he was hitting the sides, and there's just so many layers to like understand that T-Dog was, I mean, he had a very well laid out plan.
Yeah, they sure came in with the game plan and they executed it well. I mean, we saw in Oxygen were able to kind of shut Zeldris down, and though QOR came out with the win over them, the map still looked a little shaky from the individual level from Zeldris, but it's clear that they've kind of hit the drawing board here, and they have a little bit more of a game plan with Zeldris and how to get him activated. I mean, he's just been a stud this entire series, so props to Zeldris for popping off, props to T-Dog for leading this team, and good job, Cole. You guys are doing great.
Let's go.
Yeah, they're looking really good, especially, and you need to be not only good, but almost perfect when it comes to a format like this one. It's a single elimination. You lose your match, you're out of the mid-season, so it's got to be a question of winning, Roy. And it feels like this is a team that just what we've been talking about, the vibes and keeping them up, they're pretty good at winning those crucial matches and making it to the end. I don't know if this is going to happen, though.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it takes a lot of, first of all, it takes a lot of confidence to be able to laugh after losing map 1 in a single elimination tournament format. Like, if you lose first map and you're still smiling, that shows that you have a lot of like deep internal confidence, and I think that alone is a sign of their success. But I mean, yeah. This is a tough run, and it's, I mean, we can be as smart as we want to be, but in the end, it's like whichever team is most confident, whichever team is the most consistent, they're the ones that are going to be coming out on top in this tournament format. So it's really just tough to predict who's going to make it deep.
Yeah, there's clearly a lot of trust between these core players as well. I mean, you see them there playing in the team house. They're living and breathing the same air. They're obviously drilling a lot of chemistry there. They're pounding the Dr. Peppers, man. Yeah. I don't know what's in those Dr. Peppers, but it's clearly bringing these guys together and giving them that spark. They're playing off each other extremely well. You could tell there's no hesitation. Someone calls something, they're going for it.
And that's what you need. Again, that's what you need, just the vibes to be up and those wins to keep coming. And speaking of those vibes, it's time we jump into the post-match interview, and it is with the vibes merchant, as we are calling them right now. It is T-Dog, and T-Dog, I don't know if you're here. Yeah, oh, you're probably the Dr. Pepper. You're ready for it.
Of course.
What is it like every win? Is it just every time you feel good? What is it like to have that many right now?
I mean, I'm just blessed to be here. Really, it's just fun, right? I just get to show up, every week and play video games. So I'm just gonna keep doing it.
And now I want to ask you about how this series started. It didn't really go your way. It was a 13-11 on the map of Ascend, changing a little bit of the comp that we saw before, going for the standard between the two. And what happened in the map number 1, and also what changes from that second and third map to make sure it goes your way?
Yeah, to be honest with you, we were just, I don't want to say rusty, just kind of like out of the loop. We haven't played a match in a couple weeks here. Obviously, we've just been practicing and, going day by day. We were having a little too much fun, to be honest. We were just laughing, over peaking, kind of like doing whatever we wanted. And fortunately enough, we're a team who can do that, I don't respect anyone in this league. I believe in my team more than anybody. I don't care who I have to play. So, we can mess around, we can make mistakes, we can clean it up, we can go forward and close out, a series like this, even though there should have been a, 2-0 with us losing probably 3 rounds. But at the end of the day, we have fun over here, so.
And fun is a big part of teams that you see finding success and winning, just like it is for you guys. Now, we see you especially always keeping the vibes up, laughing, dancing a little bit at the end of the maps. But when it comes down to when things are not going that way, are you also the guy that is like, hey guys, let's calm down, we're gonna do this, kind of settle everything, make sure that everybody's keeping the balance between the hype, the fun, and also the, hey, let's serious, let's do the specific strat?
Right, it's a balance between the two. I think a funny dynamic is kind of like a Cloud9 Valorant comparison. If you see Oxy smiling, laughing, having fun, he's running around, he's killing 30 people. It's the same exact thing with Zeldris. It's the same exact thing with, you know, Nerve and Snarly here. So, you know, exactly. Ziff is kind of like the unsung hero on that. I do a pretty good job, in my opinion, myself, in terms of, you know, making sure everybody stays focused. Obviously, I just do my best, right? I just try to keep everybody on the same, you know, kind of like objective or goal. Okay, we, you know, accomplish it, right? Same page, all that stuff matters a lot more than just, you know, running around and doing ever. My biggest thing is just not trying to make this stressful. Okay, we don't go here, right? It's not do or die if we lose. It's not, you know, die in real life. It's die in a video game. So, you know, we just want to have fun, okay, have like a loose flow and just be comfortable, you know, doing whatever we want to do.
And just because it seems like you guys are kind of, in a way, going with the flow, and that flow is kind of always naturally going to you. I want to ask you, when it comes to a map like Breeze, where Zeldris is just having an insane performance from the beginning, dropping 30 kills, does the game plan change a little bit more of, okay, let's keep it going, let's keep positioning him in aggressive situations where he's going to continue winning those duels, or is it going to be more like, instead of those vibes, it's going to be, let's play while we practice in scrims, let's keep doing the same, and this is the same thing that is working out?
Yeah, I think Roy hit it on the head. He mentioned something along the lines that, you know, we trust each other and we just have like a good time over here. It is a mutual trust thing. He will respect the time that I have calls and I want him to go places, and I will respect the time, you know, when he has reads and he wants to go places. I think the philosophy there is just keeping it simple, right? I don't need to overcook anything. I don't need to do anything crazy when he kills 3 people around, right? They obviously aren't good enough to be able to solve problems or present solutions, and, you know, they're scared and hesitant, blah, blah, blah. So I just need to sit around and just, you know, enable him, right? And if I need to solve a problem or I need to figure out, you know, what they're doing, I can do that easily.
Yeah. Now for my last question, the next match is going to be against Oxygen, a team that you face on that week number 5 and a team that you took down. How is it going to go this way around? Is it going to be, it's not going to be a 2-1, is it going to be a 2-0? What are the vibes for that match?
If I had to guess what their kind of like post game was, it was probably psyching themselves out. They were seemingly playing to not lose rather than win. So I think they're going to come into this with a lot of confidence. You know, I saw that they're, you know, at a boot camp now, and I'm sure, you know, they're drilled and, you know, more focused than ever. And, you know, we're in the same shoes here. You know, I'm happy that we got to just, you know, shake this match off, right? Warm up, you know, get that rust off of us. But, you know, we're always going to be counted out. We're always going to be doubted, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So, you know, you guys can place your bets on Oxygen, and you can, you know, lose all your money again. No problem by me.
And you're still gonna do everything to prove them otherwise and continue getting those wins. Congratulations, T-Dog, on this
Thanks
win.
so much.
We are definitely expecting to see a lot more of those. And with that, we're gonna close this post-match interview, but we have one more match to go, and it's gonna be right after this break.
They say in life, there are no guarantees. They say a lot of stuff like that. Slow it down. Play it safe. Hedge your bets. So what? You gonna listen to that? You gonna stop because they can't guarantee you'll pull this off? No guarantee you'll win? No guarantee everything's gonna be fine? In life, you make your own guarantees. Nobody else will light your way. Start your own fire and keep it burning. And we guarantee You'll have one hell of a lifetime.